all day, amongst other things.
Yeah, you guys have a good group tonight.
That's McMahon. Nick Lofton. You know what sucks about Nick Lofton? I only got 2 at bats down the Cape, so I didn't make a video out of it because he didn't. He walked in both at bats. It was like, well, I'm gonna post like 12 2 swings on foul balls, and you know.
Don't worry, I saw 12 at bats of Lofton at Shriners right before the shutdown, so we're good.
Nice.
Including the longest home run he's ever fucking hit in his life.
He's hit a couple bombs. It's weird. Like
it's the ones where you go, oh.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say about him. It's like when he turns on something to his pull side, he can ambush a fastball on the inner part of the plate and just demolish it. Like you're like, where did this come from? Because
like
cross out otherwise, you know.
You cross out the high 4 and right low 5, like
and just
yeah, all right, we're gonna have a 5 here, boys. All right,
like,
exactly what I did at Houston. He hit one like out of Minute Maid right down the line pull side, and I was like, okay.
His swing mechanics are so basic. Like it's a toe tap and just go. Yep. You know, doesn't bring his hands back much. It's really quick, really short. It's funny, like because his bat path itself is kind of long. You know, because he extends well. So I don't think it's a bad thing. And he certainly doesn't have any issues going to the opposite field when he needs to. He doesn't really have much power today, but
pardon me.
Bless you. How was Cleveland?
It was fun, man. Actually, like got outside and did some shit for the first time in months. Yeah, no, it was a good time. Just a lot of writing reports and shit like that. So I'm kind of ready for just get back on the road, man.
I can only imagine. That's not happening here.
This is the longest I've been home, like in one stretch in 7 years.
Jared Kelly.
We have our big cheese playbook.
Okay, I'm getting it loaded up now.
Weird. All right, here we go. So funny. Jared Kelly has like so many like local TV videos. It's brutal.
That's Texas, baby.
I'm like, how come none of our videos are coming up here with Jared Kelly? I know we have Jared Kelly video. I watched it. Oh, you're not going to have to cut this one either. Oh, my God. Yeah, this was Thompson uploading like all of the Jared Kelly footage of the entire game. It's literally 14 minutes long. Way to go, dude. Yeah. Brian, our buddy Mason got in trouble the other night.
Say that again?
I said our buddy Mason got in trouble the other night. Did you see?
No. Was he up past curfew?
He posted.
Sorry, what that mean?
He posted something about Pittsburgh and Austin Hendrick, and apparently it had come directly from a team source, and he posted it. So the guy was like all up his ass, and he had to he immediately deleted it.
Oh my god, do we have screenshots?
Joe Doyle was the one that told me about it, so I'll have to ask him.
So he posted dope that he wasn't allowed to post.
Yeah.
Okay. Did the guy clap back up on Twitter?
Oh, I think he must have hit him back in a DM or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
All right. Hassel here versus Kyle Harrison. Nice. All right. We cannot show after, well, I guess you can as long as we started at the right time because we won't have that issue. We can't show Robert Hassel after 2:07 because he'll be pitching. I don't think anyone actually has any interest in that. I know, right? Here's Robert Hassel pitching.
Most of the video I had of Anthony Siegler was him pitching.
Well.
With both arms.
He's an octopus, so what does it matter?
I mean, still, man, you don't take prep catchers, or you just don't. And the Yankees did. And, I get it. I like Siegler, dude. He could fucking play. But, are we surprised? It's a prep catcher, man.
He's one of those guys that would have been a lot more fun in college, I think.
Oh, God, he won the Golden Spikes twice.
Where was he committed?
Auburn. Hold on.
I watched a Tanner Burns start today and logged it and scouted it, and I have to say that they could use a good catcher.
Yeah.
There was some rough receiving in that game. Was it Davis? Is that their catcher?
Oh, Siegler was committed to Auburn at one point. He flipped late to Florida. I remember that now. So he would have went to Florida.
All right, I got McMahon, I got Lofton, I got Kelly, I got Hassel, and I need Ian Seymour. One of these things is not like the other. I just had an idea. I'm going to have to play around with some video tonight. We have Ian Seymour's old delivery down the Cape, and I think you guys have his improved delivery.
We should have his delivery from a year ago because I saw him a year ago.
Oh, that is a year ago.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's the same delivery.
Him against Wake, I think.
Yeah. I was trying to find the video of him.
You want to talk about a rough series to sit through? When I was like, you know what, you're right. Yeah, I need to go see Morgan McSweeney. No, I didn't. Actually, but it was actually in the Wake Forest stands before a game.
Yeah,
it was either fucking Payluz or fucking McSweeney starting, whatever. Is the first place where I heard the name Brenton Doyle. Had never heard the name before. Heard these fucking scouts sitting behind me talking about this. Yeah, this blow up D2 guy who was juicing on tools and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, fucking who? So that's how I ended up finding Brenton Doyle's name.
No shit.
Yeah, go to the ballpark, right?
Hey, what do you think about Knack?
I mean, fuck, dude. I'd take the shit out of that guy and save some money on it.
Yeah.
Was Noah Song's stuff that much better?
I don't think so.
I mean, it's up to 98 with
Story was better.
7 control and a good breakable. Would you not give that guy $100,000 as a senior to save a ton of money and still get a viable big leaguer out of it? Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. I think someone. I think I have a prediction. I think Baltimore's going to take them in their competitive balance pick.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
I
Save
have
like
a,
$1 million bucks.
I have a contact that's a Oriole scout, and he won't tell me the name, but he's like, there's an arm that's in most top 100 draft top 100s, that's underrated significantly by like 40 or 50 spots, and he said, I think he's on par with Kirby and Thompson last year in terms of like caliber of his arm.
Okay.
And so I've been trying to guess it for a while, and the names I like initially, like I love Zach McKembley, so I mentioned McKembley. He's like, no, it's not McKembley. I mentioned Seymour. He says it's not Seymour. So I wondered if it was Nat because I could see some of the same like qualities.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, and I just wonder if they could, save some money there because they have what three picks in the top 40.
Take a guy you
It
think
makes
is
sense.
a pretty for sure 4,
and you could steal somebody in the second round.
Yep. Then all of a sudden, the prep kid who everybody thought goes to school changes his mind because you can give him 1.5.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Hello,
Isaiah Green.
Yeah, and there was
he's signing.
Yeah, he is.
Green? Yeah, he's not going to fucking Missouri. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. White Sox in the second is my guess.
Oh, I'd rather we went to Missouri.
Courtney
They do a
Hawkins
better job.
too, baby.
They got better tech than the White Sox do.
The White Sox scouting system is like one of my best friends in baseball was an area scout for a more progressive team and is now an area scout for the White Sox. And like the stories he tells about the differences and like he's like, I think I'm the best scout in the organization because these guys, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like,
really?
Yeah. Just like their tech is, they're still learning spin rates, like shit like that. Like very old school scouting. Like, who does the director like the best? That's who we're taking. God damn it.
Well, and the worst part about that mentality right now is it's even beyond spin rates and that sort of thing. Like raw spin data is like, right. People want to know how efficient it is. It's why all these high school kids like Jared Jones today, is posting pictures of his fastball and his curveball and made note that to make sure he had the screen up on the Rapsodo with the spin efficiency,
Not a bad curveball, not a bad pitch in a vacuum, but given that he throws 100, it's way too slow.
Yeah.
We can't throw a 73-mile-an-hour curveball.
No.
There's like one dude who gets away with that, and his name's Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, and
Rich Hill.
Yeah, and his finesse is off the chart. Well, and Rich Hill also doesn't really throw 100 all that often,
No,
he's
neither does Kershaw.
Curveball.
Yeah.
And Rich Hill's older than me.
Noted you of alum.
Was because he played Massachusetts high school baseball. He was like a year ahead of me.
Was he?
Yeah. I mean, he's a guy that like it took him like fucking 20 years in professional baseball to really like click.
Right.
He had like a short window where he was good with the Cubs and then like dropped off the table. He was in Long Island. He was playing with the Ducks.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, it's like rock bottom in baseball world. Where Scott Kazmir went to die for Long Island Ducks.
He's trying to come back too, isn't he?
I think so.
Good luck, Scott. All right, I'm ready when y'all are.
Yeah, I think I'm ready too. All right. Yep. Cool. So the Phillies get sentimental and take McMahon.
I mean, yeah. Well, I think it's. I've been told in recent days that Ciccone is going to go way fucking higher than we all expected to, and will go before McMahon.
Yeah, I figured he would.
I fucking hate. He's such a pussy, dude. I know him from high school. He's a pussy. I hate him.
Really?
But I know he's good. But
I like McMahon. I like McMahon more. I have McMahon.
Yeah, McMahon. Yeah.
I think I'm in the minority there, but
Ciccone shit's nasty, and it's 5+ at times, and there's times he looks like a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But dude, just noted pussy. Like Mark Appel. He might be Mark Appel. Noted fucking pussy.
Oh. I saw the all-time bus game. Probably the first minor league game I ever took my my oldest son to. I want to say it was 2015, 2016. And it was AAA. It was the Paw Sox early in the season against Lehigh Valley. And fucking Nick Williams was in the lineup. And it was when Nick Williams was still a prospect,
Right.
It wasn't long after he was traded. And Mark Appel was the starter. And I was like, oh, this isn't a bad game. We'll go see Appel. And I was like, oh, this guy is terrible. And I hated Nick Williams. Nick Williams was one of those guys that got there. We got there for batting practice. And I'm watching BP, and he looks phenomenal. It's exactly the guy that I had watched on video, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I love Nick Williams, I learned a valuable lesson that day. And then I watched him his approach, and it was he swung at everything. It was dog shit. It was like he had never played baseball before.
Only one guy can have the Vlad Guerrero approach.
He was like
Delman Young tried.
Yeah. Cool. All right. We'll go McMahon first. We'll go right in order here.
Sounds good.
Get that sound off. Hold up. I realized that my washing machine was on. So I'm close the door so that way there's no bad noises. All right, here we go. All right, welcome back, Prospect Live viewers. We're back with another set of MLB Draft player breakdowns. Today, we're going to be going through Miami, right-handed pitcher, Chris McMahon, of course, joining me today, courtesy of perfectgame.org. That is PG's National Scouting Supervisor, Brian Sakowski. We'll pull up a little bit of video here on Chris McMahon. I think it's actually from earlier this season against Florida, where he had a dominant start. This guy really took a big step forward, I think, this year, just in terms of his overall stuff. Sort of transitioned a little bit from a cutter to more of a slider, and more of a classic movement on the slider. Changed his grip a little bit by working with a pitching coach. He was more change-up heavy previously, like 2019, in his sophomore season, where he did put up some pretty decent numbers. But it looks like he's taken a big step forward. And I know we were joking around before the broadcast where I showed you over a picture of him back in high school. I mean, this guy has added a ton of muscle. So tell me a little bit about Chris McMahon. I don't know if you actually got to see him back in high school and sort of what your history is.
Yeah. He was a guy, kind of a late bloomer out of high school. The picture you see on his PG profile is one from when he was 15 years old. Later bloomer, a guy who really burst onto the scene kind of the summer of his showcase circuit there. And a guy who had a fair bit of hype into his draft spring, but it was a later blooming type of profile. He wasn't a guy that we'd ID'd at 14 years old or anything like that. But yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head as far as taking the step forward. The breaking ball development is really what's kind of up the profile. He always had velo. He's always had strikes. He's always been able to throw a changeup. But the going from a solid cutter to what is now a plus slider has kind of taken him up that next level. I think you're looking at the ingredients of a mid-rotation starter type, and I know that that's something that's easy to throw out this time every year when it seems like every website has 150 different potential number 3 starters on their draft rankings, when in reality that's, there may be 6. But yeah, it's the ingredients are there. He throws a lot of strikes. There's a little bit of worry about the length of the arm stroke and the way that moves, but you're looking at a guy who's got a 3-pitch mix. He can command it all. 2 of them are pluses at times at least. And I think there's some safety there. Mid-late first round type of guy, I think, for me right now.
And he'll actually even still manipulate the slider a little bit back to his old grip and throw the cutter. And that's usually when you see it in the upper registers of like 87, 88, 89, which pairs pretty well with that fastball, which he'll run up to 97 at times, but he tends to sit more like 93 to 95. He'll work the lower quadrants really well. He does have some spin on it. He doesn't elevate a ton, which I think is typical of the college game. If you just sort of look at what his plan of attack is. So I'm interested to see if he lands with an analytical team, if he starts to work a little bit more up in the zone with that fastball, especially knowing now that he has that slider that could pair with it quite well up in the zone. Where do you think McMahon ends up going? Obviously day one. It's the back end of the first round guy. Do you think he could creep up to the mid first round or comp round? Where do you see him going?
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys that has a chance. Really, I think it wouldn't surprise either one of us if he came off the board in the late teens, early 20s. And at the same time, I don't think it would surprise either one of us if he's sitting there once we start the comp round and we're just waiting to see, like, who's going to get Chris McMahon this late? You could see being one of those profiles where we look up and it's pick 36 and he goes, and all of a sudden we're going like, man, that's a great pick. So I think we'll see. I think his range is pretty substantial as far as the vacuum of day one goes.
Who do you think goes first, him or his teammate Slade Ciccone?
It's an interesting question, man. It really is, and I think that at given points in the last couple months, the names are different depending on the order. I think right now where we sit, the way that Ciccone's spin metrics and spin data and stuff like that are making their way to teams, and they're seeing the totality of the dominance that he offers. I think we're going to see Ciccone go first, but it may be a separator of a handful of picks. Really, it's got a chance to be that, I think.
Well, there you have it. Chris McMahon, right-hander out of the University of Miami. Next up, Baylor shortstop Nick Loftin. Thanks for tuning in.
Right. Ciccone does have real shit, dude. It really does. It just he was like, can't pitch at East Coast Pro because my innings, and like my dad doesn't want me to pitch in the All-American game because it's in August and I'm supposed to be off. And like then that whole fucking draft spring.
Where is he from?
He's from Florida or something, like South Florida.
Oh, okay.
Rich white kid.
Yeah.
And it's like. And then that whole draft spring, he was like, I kind of want to go to Miami. So, like, I don't even really care to let you know when I'm going to throw. Like, shit like that. So, like, scouts, short memories, especially because that was 2 years ago for him.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just I've seen him pitch a lot, and he's got nasty shit. He really does. And it's even better now. But I just kind of a pussy. I don't know.
He's one of the guys you just don't like.
Yeah, like sometimes you just don't like guys,
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Especially if you think he's kind of a pussy.
Kind of a bitch. Yeah.
He kind of pitches that way too. Like he kind of doesn't go inside on guys. He loves the outer part of the plate.
My Central Michigan Chippewas beat his ass in the regional game last year.
Yeah.
Just shit like that.
Yep.
Fire up chips, baby.
There we go. Nice.
How about a 3 seed Central Michigan Chippewa last year? A 3 seed. Anyways.
You and Antonio Brown, man. You guys go.
JJ Watt for that 1 year.
Was he there for a year?
Redshirted and then like transferred to Wisconsin and walked on. But yeah, he was there.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cool. Welcome back, Prospect Live viewers. We're back with another 2020 MLB Draft player breakdown. Today, we got Nick Loftin, shortstop out of Baylor. Joining me, of course, courtesy of perfectgame.org. PG's National Scouting Supervisor, Brian Sakowski. Brian, Nick Lofton, probably the top college shortstop in this year's class. I don't think that's saying a whole lot, though, necessarily. But Lofton is a really talented player, great player all around, right across the board. He can run, he can field, probably play multiple spots in the dirt long term. He's definitely a flexible player, played some outfield with Team USA as well. And he's a gap-to-gap guy, not a ton of power, but I know we talked about it, pre-broadcast. This is a guy that can turn on one in the inner part of the plate and really display some mammoth power at times to his pull side. So talk to me a little bit about Nick Lofton. I know you caught a bit of him, I think, at Shriners earlier this season.
Yeah. He's we talk about the college shortstop class, and I think there are guys who have higher upside than Nick Lofton. Like Jordan Westberg comes to mind, just as a guy loaded with tools whose ultimate upside may be higher than Lofton's. But Lofton may be the safest guy in the class. We talked about that with Daniel Cabrera, but Lofton's got that kind of this dude's going to play in the major leagues and probably play well, but is he in that high roll 4 range, or is he a medium roll 5 who plays every day? That's kind of the discrepancy in what we're seeing. But it's a guy who's got all 5 tools, just none of them are really plus. He's a solid defender. The instincts are good. The arm's a 55. His best speed is a 55 dig, but he's truthfully an average runner. And he can hit. I think there's the simplicity of the approach and the way that he just sprays barrels around. It speaks to a high contact approach, a high sort of on base approach along with the hit tool. But like you said in the intro, there's times when you kind of forget and you're kind of falling asleep, and then all of a sudden he gets a fastball in the inner third and hits it out of Minute Maid in Houston, like I saw him do earlier this year. And you're kind of sitting there scratching your chin and going, okay, well, that's certainly not insubstantial raw power. That baseball went a long way. What can we do, if anything, to maybe bring that more into his game? What can we do to maybe think about him as a 15 to 20 homer guy as opposed to a 10 to 15 or a 10 to 12 type of guy? And all of a sudden, then you start talking about the discrepancy in the profile. Then we start talking about a guy who, instead of being a really, really good bench player or a solid starter, is maybe a really good starter or something like that. So I don't know exactly where he's going to go. I think his range is substantial. A team could fall in love with him early. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's anywhere from, 20 to 40 maybe with Lofton as far as where he's going to go.
Yeah, and I think, some of the teams that are in that range too, could potentially fit him. I know you folks over at Perfect Game, I think you and Vinny had actually mocked him out at 24 to the Rays. And, it's almost a perfect fit there just in terms of, a team that loves versatility, guys that are sort of his bag of tools. And he's relatively close to the majors. And, he's one of these guys that could play outfield, infield, kind of fits that Rays mantra a lot where, I almost wonder if they could get the most out of him just based upon his power and stuff. So, yeah, he's definitely one of the, more interesting, college players just because he shows glimpses here and there. But overall, he's kind of a really safe foundational sort of player. Trying to think of other questions here because we already sort of covered, where he's going to go in the draft, what we sort of think about him. So let's just wrap this sucker up. That was Nick Lofton, Baylor shortstop. We'll be back with a really, really exciting one. Right-hander, Jared Kelly. Thanks for tuning in. We were thorough. I was trying to think of another question, and I'm like, I don't have any other questions on this one.